Welcome to PromoChat's Deep Dive, where we take one of our favorite tweets from the previous week and we go a little deeper. We go beyond the 280 characters. So this week, we're really excited to welcome Rich Patterson from Patterson Brands from Vancouver, BC, to follow up on what we talked about last week. So welcome, Rich.
Hey, nice to see you, Kate. Thanks for having me.
No problem. Always a pleasure. You're such an active member, so we love having you. So this week we asked the question where we were talking about networking, and one of the reasons was we have our upcoming networking in Vegas, and so we wanted to give some tips and tricks to when you're going to trade shows and other events. So our question was, some people are natural networkers while others need a little help. What are your biggest challenges when it comes to networking, and what are your tips for overcoming them? And your response was, this may sound so salesy, but that's not the point. I always prep before networking sessions by setting some intentions, sales, mentoring, help, offering, and or asking. For sales, I want one warm/hot prospect of the event. I bat 500 on the prospects. Perfect. So our follow-up question for you is, so what are the actions that you take in your prep? Like, how do you do your research? How do you find your events and your goals? And basically, what's step one for you?
So one of the key things I do when I pick sales events that I want to go to, or networking events where I'd like to meet new prospects, is I try to pick events that come from our target audience. So I feel like after 19 years in business, I've got a pretty good handle on who our key client groups are. We've got high tech, we've got Hollywood, North, we've got event management companies and marketing companies. Those are sort of the three lanes we tend to run in. So those are the networking events I like to go to, where I know I'll see people who are in that realm. But then I also was saying to you before that I don't do a ton of preparation, meaning I don't do like a lot of trying to research who's there, or I don't have the time. And I think that is kind of weird salesy thing, you know what I mean? Like trying to do FBI research on who's going to be at an event. I don't know.
Yeah,
you're
targeting.
I just try to take it as it comes, right? Go in there with an open mind. But I do set intentions. So I always say to myself, I want to go into this event, spend some valuable time there. If I can share something with somebody, give them some mentorship or answer some questions or help them get a lead in business, whether it's my company or somebody else I know, then I want to do that. Of course, I want to help, but I also want to leave with one warm to hot prospect out of it. And I just feel like after I said 19 years in business, it's not scientific, but I feel like I do bat about 500. I usually come away from almost every 1 out of 2 meetings with somebody good to follow up with, and it leads to business.
That's awesome. So when you kind of do the meeting aspect of it, like your follow-up for it, what is your follow-up on each action for this?
I usually I go quite old school with the follow-up. Like I won't do anything I won't sign them up for a newsletter or anything electronic without their knowledge, but I do like to get in touch with them pretty soon after meeting them. And I try to do it old school. I try to send them something written, and I like to use like I've got these postcards with our company, and I'll write a handwritten note, and I sometimes put in a funny joke thing. Please don't send this to Oprah or Tom's lawyers, but I've got a little thing here about Tom and Oprah and swag, and a little flow chart, just because I always want people to know right from the get-go the kind of culture that we have in our company. I think this is so important. I like a handwritten note, but I don't make it too stuffy, obviously, and I put these jokes in about Oprah and Tom because I want them to know that we're irreverent type of brand. We don't take ourselves seriously. And I like setting that tone from the get-go so they know if you do want to work with us, because we probably want to work with you, that these are the kind of things you can expect.
Yeah, and it's probably so powerful to receive that handwritten note and just to have a personality behind the mailer, which is, rather than just getting like a pen being like, we can do pens for you. You're like, these are our thoughts and our processes that we can bring to what you do. Yeah. Handwritten notes are powerful, like way more powerful than people realize because nobody gets mail anymore.
Yes. And then of course, because we're in the business we're in, promotional products, custom merchandise, I usually 9 times out of 10, I put something in, some sort of self-promo thing that we have. And darn it, I should have got them ready. How come I got the written things ready? And maybe we'll edit it in after. But I do have some things that we've always got like a stash of gifts here with our brand on them. Again, they're fairly irreverent. They're not overly branded with Patterson Brands. That's the name of my company, but they're not overly branded with Patterson Brands stuff. It's much more subtle because I want them to get a gift and think it's practical, useful, and fun, and not just a big advertisement for us. Like you said, I loved your point about just sending them a pen, say, we can do pens. That's so literal. And I think that really misses the mark, you know?
Yeah. Well, I've gotten swag from you before. You did like one of the Numo manufacturing pouches, I think it was. And it's true. It's something different. It's something functional and something that looks really cool. So there's value in showing what you can do after the event. So.
Yeah, exactly.
Awesome. So a lot of people, what kind of came up a lot in the chat was opening lines. So do you have an opening line on when you're like meeting new people, if you don't know anyone in the room, that you can give as a tip for people?
Geez, that is a really good question. I never really thought of it like that with opening lines, because I don't think I'd be good. I honestly don't think I'd be good with an opening line per se. I've been married for 25 years, so I that whole idea of having lines and I'm not going to be good at that. So
You don't have an opening question. Danny Rosen had one where he's like, "What's your walk-in song?" which I loved.
Oh yeah, a walk-in song. Yeah, Danny Rosen would definitely have a walk-in song. Yeah, he's so good at that kind of stuff. Yeah. No, I don't really have an opening question or an opening line. I think I just, ask about the person, about who they are, where they're from. It's so funny out here in Western Canada. There's so many of us that are from small towns. I think that's usually my opening line, like, what small town are you from? And then we always find a connection, right? Because the people end up, so Vancouver's grown incredibly over the last 25, 30 years. I've been here for almost 20 years now. And, but nobody's from here, that type of thing. So that's, I think, a really great connection. You find out where people are from, and then, oh my God, I know somebody from some small town you've never heard of before, but I've heard of it before. And that really makes a great connection.
Yeah, and honestly, that applies to so many places in the US as well, not just Western Canada. Like, my favorite joke with a friend of mine from Austin is that nobody's from Austin. Like, it's right. Everyone moves there, everyone ends up there. And yeah, and the same thing with BC, everyone moves there or ends up there. So yeah, awesome. Well, Rich, thank you so much for being part of our little chat. And where can we find you on the internet?
Oh, it's real easy. Patterson Brands, that's our handle for Twitter and Instagram and Facebook. At Patterson Brands, TTERSON Brands.
Wonderful. Thank you so much. And again, everyone, please join us for PromoChat Wednesday, noon Pacific, 3 p.m. Eastern time. And we look forward to seeing you there. Thank you.
Thanks, Kate.